Welcome back, Blood Bowl fans, to the Lansing Area Blood Bowl League Weekly Recap. We're on week 2, and another amazing week it was. My name is Rob, aka Lantern Noir.
My name is Chuck Norseman, here reporting about this week's games.
And some gauntlets went down last week, and they were picked up and run with across the goal line. We're going to start with some highlights from around the league. Start us off, Chuck.
So we're starting off with the Fell-Off Oaths, Andrew versus Andy and the Sunfall Sun Starstriders. Oaths took the game 2-1 with one casualty. First half, Sunstriders' agility was neutralized by a revolving door of knockouts. Short-handed and bleeding players to the dugout, and the Elves couldn't hold the line. Oaths capitalized the numbers and advantaged the punch in a one-touchdown lead. Second half, though, Starstriders found the rhythm early, executing a lightning-fast Elf BS drive to tie the game 1-1. Closer, though, Andrew's Oaths didn't panic. They engaged in a slow, steady march all the way down the field, moving the chains, burning every second on the clock. They scored with a go-ahead goal at the death, leaving the Elves no time to respond. Turn 8 finish.
That's the way you're supposed to do it.
No. Score more touchdowns. Get more goals.
Score early. It's like voting. Score early, score often.
Very often. All right. Match 2, the Meat Grinder. The weight is Ogre Chris versus Savage Joe's Jim. Jake. The Ogres won 3-1 and got 5 casualties on Jake. First half was a high-scoring frenzy. The Ogres struck first. The Lizards answered immediately with a rapid sprint. However, Ogres stole the momentum with an air snotling kick, a snotling downfield for a shocking go-ahead touchdown. Get there. Second half, the physical toll became the story. The devastating hit killed by Lizardman Blazer early on. No. With the gym roster decimated 5-0 total, the Ogres had a third late-game score to seal the win. You gotta get those scrawny Lizardmen off the field and put the big boys back on there.
Yeah, it is a strategy.
Third match, the final whistle miracle. Thwop Moss versus the Gobby Horror Picture Show, which, if we can vote for coolest models of the season so far, I would like to throw their name in the hat. Josh's models of all the horror creatures, amazing. It was a 2-2 tie with only one casualty. First half, Moss set the tone early for a brutal foul in the opening minutes of the game, setting the pace immediately, causing a casualty. Despite the missing man, the Gobby Horror Picture Show managed to score. Thwops responded with a beautiful passing play and smack-talking from Lambert to Augustine to tie it all in the first half. Gobby Horror Picture Show took the late lead, and Augustine cemented his legend, sprinting for the equalizer exact of the final whistle blow.
Yeah, we had some controversy on this game, didn't we?
Huge controversy. They were fighting back and forth about who could talk more smack and who could murder more people, to be honest with you. It's just amazing. The Gobby Horror Picture Show coach was so angry at his lackluster team's results, the fans roared for Trollzilla naming them the official king of the pitch, despite how the coach really felt.
All right, continuing with highlights around the league, the Green Legs and Wham squared off with the Ramble Shambles squad. It was a solid game. There was a bit of a controversy there as well in that the Green Legs coach opted to stall during the first half and slow walk the ball into the end zone. Now, this was in part due to the death of one of the linemen. It's entirely possible the team was just running at half speed, mourning the loss of their colleague, which now that I've said out loud makes absolutely no sense. But that said, it was a solid continuing play. Second half, 2 more scores. Final score 3-0 for Green Legs and Wham, 1 casualty to them and 3 to the Ramble Shambles squad.
I'm going to pour a beer out for the stall. Shame. Shame.
Meanwhile, we also had the Ragnarots versus the Short Stack Smashers. Highlights from that game include two perfect throw teammate plays on the same gnome. Unfortunately, on the second one, the gnome landed exactly 1 square short of the end zone and then was met with an undead blizzard, which casualtied him out of the game. Also of relevance, The tree men were kicking butt and taking names until both became rooted. That's the downside of those big trees. Shout out to Alvin Camaro, scoring, I think, our first hat trick of the league with 3 touchdowns. The final score was 3-0 Ragnaroks.
Good player points. I like it.
And then finally, in this section, highlights from the Delphi Dip Duck Dodgers versus the Befowlers. This was definitely a game of speed versus strength, as the Dodgers took an early lead. On the return, the Befowlers not only tried to commit a foul, but had their coach thrown out of the game. In a weird twist, which I'm still not entirely sure was within the rules, a bribe kept the fouling player in the game while the coach was still forced to walk down the tunnel. The Befowlers then came back to score it up at the end of the half. Second half, they received the kickoff, began to drive down, only to have Journeyman Breezy knocked the ball loose, scooped up by Blitzer, I think it's Boudica, who then ran it from one corner of the pitch to the other, knocked down several times, but every time was able to pop up, grab the ball, and continue it, earning her the Chumbawamba Trophy for the week. In the final note there, the coach of the Dip Duck Dodgers was so impressed with Journeyman Breezy that she has actually offered a full contract to the team and is now the team's 12th player.
Good signing. Those Amazons, man, they're tricky. Let me tell you about these Norse code violations versus the illustrious Monarchs, Mat A. Final score was 1-1, a tie, and the casualties was 2 on the Monarch side. In the pregame, the Monarchs showed up with a war of attrition in mind. They had a Bloodweiser keg, a team mascot, and not 1, not 2, but 3 prayers to Nuffle, making it a very hard game in their favor. The first half of the game was plagued out. The kickoff events, they suffered 2 timeout events, robbing both team players of a turn each. So what, it was like we went from turn 1 to turn 3, and then turn 4 to turn 5. It was brutal. The Monarchs found themselves trapped in a suffocating 8-man Norse cage, and they just didn't care. Against all odds, the Amazons dodged out, punched their way out of the wall of fur, and completed a short pass all the way downfield, sprinting downfield for a turn 3 touchdown. Just strictly impressive. The Nuffle giveth and Nuffle taketh. The Nuffle whims were heavily felt. A dodge finally let the game have their first casualty, to prayers of Nuffle. While the Norse Ulferners kept struggling their frenzies and they kept losing control, suffering in several early turnovers. The second half, the official pillow fight commenced as both teams traded blocks and dodges back and forth. The Norse Zerkers finally connected, sending an Amazon to the casualty box, although she was only hit with the pillow, so she's coming back next game with no injuries. The Norse finally got through the endless wall of Amazons and got a turn 14 touchdown. For the final heartbreak on turn 15, these Monarchs performed another miracle, breaking out of a 9-man Norseman cage with screening, a series of successful dodges, and another short pass caught. The Norse had to chase an Amazon downfield, and the Valkyrie sprinted, double go for it, and got strip ball. Although it still wasn't enough. Turn 16, the Amazon had the opportunity to dodge out, was a success, and attempt to pick up the ball. It fell through her fingers, and with the re-roll, it still hit the ground. Nuffle said no. That's the game.
That is a thrilling 1-1 tie.
It was ridiculous. Those Amazons are just impossible to catch. You can't cage an Amazon. Next match was the Nighthawks, Luke, versus the 10 Pounds of Chaos, Store Dan. Another tie, 2-2. Casualty count was absolutely high. The Blood Dwarfs, Sneaky Stabba, Lorcan, Kato, and Squire instantly on turn 1. Olsen the Bull Centaur trampled Sir Kestrel to death, and then later, Flown, another Stabba, shanked Cooper the Squire, giving him a permanent hatred of goblins. The Miracle, down to just 5 players, mostly knights, Sir Osprey grabbed a scoop and score. Later, Sir Ferguson's redeemed an early fumble by stiff-arming a hobgoblin for trying to do a touchdown.
Yeah, that time touchdown really put that game in there.
What a game.
It was intense.
What a game.
Absolutely.
And huge comeback for Store Dan from game 1 to game 2.
Absolutely. Yeah. Meanwhile, some more highlights. We have the Wahala War Boys versus Scorched Turf. Now, this one, they brought in a legendary player on the War Boys side, Dribble Snot, who was highly successful with his bombing, specifically in dropping one on Skid, which now that I'm reading the reporting, is actually a member of the War Boys. So perhaps.
Not so legendary.
Perhaps not so legendary. The good bad news is that the human cage then ran him right over and took him out of the game. So that took care of that. The game was played in a heavy rain. The weather was absolutely a factor in making it challenging for the ball to get around. At one point, the humans fumbled it out of bounds. The crowd threw it in directly to the Thunderbike, who then ran it up the field, handed it off to the gyro captain, who then shot over everyone's heads into the end zone for the first score. Second half saw a second score by the War Boys to give us a final score of 2-0. Now, of note, though, I think that was a very solid defense by Scorched Turf, who came onto the field with only 7 players, with 4 still knocked out for the second half.
Wow. Another team, by the way, that needs to be a cool team scenario with all those War Boys, the Chariot Pigs being thrown into the hat of cool teams. That's why.
Absolutely. And then our last highlight, we have the Dansville Dan Rats versus Vester's Jesters. Another game with some team-on-team shenanigans. Here, the Little Dan, the Rat Ogre, was just having the kind of game where he was not enjoying himself, which he took out on his own teammates multiple times, one of which was killed. Another of
Rat on
which,
rat action.
yeah, was so severely injured, he now has a permanent hatred for Skaven. Now, that all said, DeNephew showed incredible hands, dodging and scoring a touchdown, and Danica was able to scoop up a loose ball and also make a breakaway touchdown. There was an opportunity to set up for that score, and that was the result of a lone catcher who picked off a pass, which was an incredible leaping move, a fingertip interception, and allowed the Bester Jesters to score their touchdown to keep the game an honest 2-1 victory to the Dansville Dan Rats.
Downright believable.
Yeah. And that's those are our highlights. We're going to go around the league with a few top scores. We have the Brambleshad Toothaches 1-2 over Durin's Defenders. Durin's Defenders did put up 3 casualties. In a 1-1 tie, we have the Elves and the Fungus City Cheats. And in that instance, not only it was a tie, but the Elves did put up 2 casualties as well. We have the Skull Ranch Rioters against the Nekahora Decapitators. Again, a 1-1 tie, 1 casualty to the Rioters, which for a corn team, I will say, the Blood God is not pleased. He is watching.
Blood for the Blood God.
And then finally, as I had mentioned earlier in the broadcast, the gauntlet had gone down. It was picked up. We have the Golden Shamrocks in a 3-0 win over the Silly Gooses. The Golden Shamrocks inflicting 10 casualties on the Silly Gooses, which I'm not.
Just impressive.
I'm just not saying nothing no more, because I don't want to see somebody have their entire team get casualties.
But it's the Blood and Blood Bowl.
Yeah, that is exactly what that is. So that covers the scores around the league. Do you have any closing thoughts on this week?
No, it's we're gonna throw the gauntlet one more time with all these Snotling players running around. There's a gauntlet. We're gonna see if somebody can kill 11 players this time. With all these Snotling guys running around, there's 14 players on the field. It's doable. But actually, in honor of Memoriam, we're gonna have a.
Well, we're close on the Memoriam video.
Okay, that's right.
Yeah.
So,
wrapping up, we're going to close with that video. My name is Rob, aka Larrington Noir.
and my name's Chuck Norseman. We'll see you guys on week 3.
Stay safe.
When I am down and oh my soul so weary, when fumbles come and the end zone seems so far. I sit a while and watch the replay clearly of how you took that blitzer to the star. Celebrate your pain.